Good evening, fellow Plexers. Today's video is for Paul, and it's about a day or so late. Paul has a unique setup that I don't fully understand. He has 3 individual hard drives, one for himself, one for his partner, and one for his son, who he doesn't want able to see movies for an 18-year-old or older. And I don't know how old his son is. But none of that matters. The real solution is found in the video I posted earlier today on parental restrictions. It's a feature that works quite well, and you can use it with both managed users and regular friends and family that you've added to your server. But the whole idea about Plex being special is it can be bent to your individual will in a lot of cases. And just because I don't quite understand Paul's desire doesn't mean I can't offer a solution to him. So, my normal media is on my Synology NAS, and I have test media that I use for my videos that's made up of public domain media, so I can actually show it playing on YouTube without a copyright strike if I need to. So inside that test media folder, this is a shared media folder on my NAS named Media PD, I have my test libraries in my normal nested structure. Well, at the library sort folder level, I've created a folder called Paul-test to represent his 3 individual hard drives. And if you have to ask the question, how can Paul's one server access a hard drive that belongs to both his son and his partner, I'm just pretending that it works without having to think too hard about that. Maybe he gives their hard drives back to him for 2 hours every day for them to put media on it. And then it goes back into a USB port on his Plex server. I don't know, and I don't care. I don't care how this actually works in real life. I know how Paul says he's using it, and that's enough for me to set up this demonstration. So I have a test server pointed at this folder structure. So A represents the son's hard drive, B represents the partner's hard drive, and C is Paul's hard drive. So let's enter the contents of this hard drive. I have just a movie library, and I've named it Movie Young Person. And these are appropriate real folders, real files that are all public domain that represent what might be on a young person's hard drive if they had movies to collect themselves. So now on the partner's hard drive, we have a movie library just called Movie Normal, and we have a whole bunch of movies in here. And right off the bat, I'm going to designate this Jungle Book movie as the only movie Paul thinks is appropriate for his son. And this is on his partner's hard drive. Now if we go into Paul's hard drive, we've got a folder named the same to be the library folder for this hard drive. And of all the movies here, I'm going to designate The Royal Wedding as the only appropriate movie for his son to watch. So these are just what I have to work with. These are all real movies. The ones in the partner's folder structure are dummy movies just named to be real movies. But they're all public domain, so if I had to show the real ones playing, again, I could without a YouTube strike. So that's the folder setup for now to represent what he may have that will adjust to get him to where he wants to be. So now if we go to the web app, let's back up here. I have 4 movie libraries set up. So let's check Paul's out first. Let's edit the library, look at the folder, and you'll see this points down my Synology NAS directory tree, Volume 1 Media PD for the shared folder, the Paul-test folder, C-Paul to represent his individual hard drive, and then the library points at the movie-normal folder, all normal. And the same for the partner. Everything's the same except it points at the B-partner folder and then to the movie-normal library folder. Let's check the sons. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. All right, so this points down through the same structure to the Paul test folder, to the A-Sun folder representing his hard drive, to the movie-young person folder inside it. Now, I'm not sure if Paul has done this, but I've created another library that's for all the movies in both Paul and his partner's hard drive and subfolders. So if we edit this, actually, including his son's too. So this master library can see all the movies, and it's the same structure through each of the individual folder that represents their hard drive, and then into the library folder. So if we go into this library, we see everything. If we go into the library for the son, I don't know why this hasn't scanned yet. Okay, it just hadn't scanned yet. So these are the movies in the son's library. And I'm not sure how Paul has any libraries set up. I'm just doing something typical. Here are the movies in Paul's library. And here are the movies in the partner's library. Well, once you have the combined one for Paul and his partner, you don't really need the individual ones. So let's delete those. Let's have less to worry about. Because the changes we'll make to this one would be the same as if he wanted two separate ones. You just make the same change twice. I know this is going to be confusing for a lot of people because you're still grasping the concept of different people have hard drives that one server can point to and they're not on the network, but they could be on the network. I don't know. Okay, now we're left for just a library for the son that's all safe material and a combined one for Paul and his partner to watch, which has everything in it. All right, so where am I? Click too far. Let's figure out how to make this work on a file level, a folder level. All right, so we have two movies on each of the hard drives. We have to get in, not so much into the kid's hard drive, but we have to let the child library see those two movies without removing the movie from the adult's view either. So let's start with a partner. And that movie I said was Jungle Book. Let's bring that out alongside this, and now let's create another library folder. Let's call it Movie Son, and let's put this in that. And let's do the same for Paul's hard drive. Royal Wedding was the one we decided was a kid's movie. So this does involve Paul moving some movies around, but he did not want to have duplicate movies. So this will not create duplicate movies. It will just create Alright, I named that wrong. I typed kids instead of son. Alright, so now we have things segregated, but the Plex libraries need to be adjusted. So whether Paul and his partner have to move one movie, 15 or 100, at least they're not being duplicated. Anything the son can't see would go in the regular folder structure. Anything the son could see would go in the structure for the son on the two adults' individual hard drives. All right, so let's go back to Plex server. First, let's let the son see those two movies on the different drives. So we'll edit that library first, and we need to add two more paths. So volume 1, media PD, the Paul test, and let's do the partner first. Now we'll click into the movie-son library, Now we'll do the other path for Paul. The movie-son folder. And we'll save the changes. So that took care of this. But if we go into the join folder, we'll now see that we're missing two movies. We're missing Jungle Book and Royal Wedding because we moved them out of the folder structure that this library can see. So if we go over and edit it, we do have a lot of paths going on, but we only have to add two more, just like we just did for the son's access. Volume 1, Media PD, Paul-test. We'll do the partner first, the son library folder, and now we'll do this for Paul. And this may seem like a lot of work, but you're only doing it one time and then everything just flows into the folder it needs to be in. And now we save the changes, and if we go in, we'll see those two movies scanned back in. And this is an older Celeron processor in this NAS. Oh, there's the Royal Wedding. And where is the Jungle Book? Right here. So, that's my solution for you, Paul. I think it's elegant. And let's go back to your folder structure. In no place do we have a movie duplicated. But we do have to use, or you have to use, an extra movie library folder for both yours and your partner's hard drive to then move your son-appropriate films over to that. And if you're not capturing movies on both your hard drive and your partner's hard drive for one movie library, I think you're missing an opportunity unless your partner really wants to see just their movies in a separate movie library. And you can do that too. All they need to do and all you need to do is to create that extra movie library folder for the content that's good for your son. And then if you and your partner have separate movie libraries and want to keep it that way, you just have to point each library to the extra folder structure where the kid-safe movies are to include them in that library. So, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. I know this is not the easiest thing to understand for everybody watching, but it will work. I can assure you of that. So, happy plexing, and remember, you may not always need to bend Plex to your will, but if you just have to bend Plex to your will, most likely you're able to do it. Take care.